Hello again, and it's time for another project. Today we're going to scroll saw this skeleton fish, basically cutting out round all the black section and these inner sections as well. It's a nice thick wood is this, it's recycled pine. I can just show you quickly. It was an old tabletop, it's actually an inch thick, so it's a good thickness to it, and the idea is we'll cut it out as a skeleton as we see it, and it will be probably make a little base for it like so, and we'll have it freestanding on a base like that. We'll see how it progresses as we go along with the project. If it looks better putting on the wall, we'll just basically just do away with the base. But that's a little bit further down the line. Take a couple of minutes just to give it a sanding down. Doesn't have to be too fantastic. Remember, we are going to cut most of this away. Now for me, as always, I've just put a bit of tape on there, painter's tape. You pop a bit of carbon paper underneath like so, draw around it, something simple like this, takes a couple of minutes, that way we can use this over and over again. It measures in at 9 inches by 17 inches in length, and it's obviously an inch thick, and there's your carbon paper or graphite paper that we throw underneath. You'll get a lot of usage out of both of those before the carbon runs dry on you. And there we have it. So there's our little pattern stencil template that we're going to do today. I've marked off the inner areas here, as you can see, with little crosses. There's 10 of them. They're what they call inner cuts. So obviously we've got to get our blade inside there somehow. And the only way to do it is to drill an hole, what they call a pilot hole. So we'll drill our 10 little holes. That way we can feed the blade through, connect it up to our scroll saw, and cut out these middle sections, no problem. When it comes to the outer area, we can literally just start off anywhere and go all the way around that in one piece. Now for anybody who's new to the scroll saw, just a couple of minutes to show the different blades available. There's 3 types of blade, and then there's different modifications of the pinless one, be it saber tooth, reverse tooth. There's all fancy things out there. Basically just find one that you're happy with. I like to keep things on the basic level. Your first basic saw blade, should I say, is what they call a pin blade. Now they're called pin blades because they literally have a pin at both ends, and they just hook onto your basic and cheaper saws in a little clamp like thing like that. You take up the tension and you're good to go. Remember, on the scroll saw you want the blade pointing towards you and the teeth pointing down, so it's smooth on the way down and it wants to feel rough on the way up like so. That way you know you've got your blade in the right way. Now for this will be okay on this one because we can drill a big enough pilot hole and they will fit in there no problem whatsoever. Now you will struggle with that little area there, so for that reason you now get pinless blades. These are a lot smaller, a lot thinner, and they lack the pins at the side. These are for your more newer saws or your better quality saws, and they have a clamp like thing that goes on the top and bottom and it clamps it in place. Same thing, smooth on the way down, rough on the way up. These are ideal if you do a lot of detailed work, inner cuts, where you need small little pilot holes like that. You can draw a little, drill a small hole and slot that small blade in there. As with the pinned one, you just wouldn't fit that in there. So bear that in mind if you're doing a lot of intricate work. They come in different teeth one way, reverse teeth, teeth go down, teeth go up. There's so many to go out. Find one you need. Now I prefer these spiral blades. You will either love or hate these. If you don't like them, then obviously don't use them. The good thing about the spiral blade, as it says, the teeth spiral the full length of the blade. So you can literally just cut left, right, up and down, bottom, turny-whirly, anything, anywhere you want to go, these saws will cut in that direction. So we could literally drill a pilot hole there, feed that blade in, and literally just go like that all the way around, and then come back the other way. Spiral blades, I really love them. Whereas if you have a pin blade or a pinless blade, you'd have to start off there and obviously feed that into the blade like so, and then you've got to turn that completely round to come down here, and then turn it again to go down there, and then turn it again to go down there, and then turn it again. You guessed it, a lot of turning. There's some fantastic people that can use these. They're just not for me. So I stumbled across the spiral blades, and basically I won't use anything else now. Okay, we'll pop this on the saw and start cutting out the inner cuts. Before I do, I will literally just drill these with any old wood drill. It doesn't matter, just enough, big enough hole to feed those blades in. I'll drill them now, and then we'll come back when it's on the saw and we're ready to start cutting. Right, we've drilled our 10 pilot holes, as you can see along the rib cage there. We fed our blade through into one of those pilot holes. We've took up our tension, got a nice ping ping sound. So we'll start cutting this one out now. Remember, it's an inch thick, so just go nice and steady. We'll do all the inner cuts first, and then we'll literally just go around the full thing at the end, and hopefully we're getting somewhere near what we're looking for. Okay, let's start cutting this one out. Right, we've made it round with our spiral blade pegas number 5. Now, I'm not the best scroller in the world, and I've never claimed to be. So, a nice bit of sanding down and a bit of general tidying up, but it's near enough, definitely for what I want. So you can see that we just slot that out there. Now, that would make another project if you wanted to. We find remaining bits that we cut out and put them back in there with a nice backer underneath, and you basically got 2 for the price of 1. But that's not the one we're interested in today. This is the one we've just cut out, and we definitely done a nice cut with those spiral blades. I've got no issues with them. A lot of people don't like them, but you can see from that, I mean, that's nice and smooth. I do apologise for the dust and all the snowstorms in my little shed. Fortunately, I work from a little spotlight basically, and it's that kind of year where the lighting's not at its best, so I do apologise. Okay. Right, just before we start tidying up and sanding down, I just want to round these edges off slightly on both sides. We are going to go with the freestanding project at this moment in time. And also, I just want to lower down these middle sections here. I'll put a little cross on, just by 3 or 4 millimeters, and we're going to do exactly the same on the opposite side. So the same areas that we put the cross on. That way, it just gives a bit more depth with these rib cages, I'm calling it, coming over the top. At one time, I was going to have it coming over and then going under, and then coming over and going under, but it's just a little bit too thick, is this, for that kind of effect. So it's going to be easy just to remove those sections. To do that, I'm going to use a router. You can use a Dremel and just carve those bits out. And for the router, I'm just going to throw in one of these end milling bits. I use these on all my projects. They come in different sizes. We don't need nothing too big. There is, after all, just that little section there to remove. They do have a Dremel size shaft on them, a 3.175mm. So you will require a collet, so it fits a router, 6.35mm. If you're using a Dremel, that will fit in a Dremel no problem. But for the router, we'll literally just pop that in there. That's now 1/4 inch, and that will fit your router no problem. And we'll set it just to a random depth, maybe 3mm, maybe 4. And like I say, we'll just remove all those, and exactly the same on the other side. We'll do that now, and then we'll get down to a bit of tidying up. Right, we've done both sides of the fish. We've gone down the spinal column, as I'm calling it. We've lowered it down by a good 4 to 5 millimeters on that side, and obviously exactly the same on that side. It just gives it a bit more shape to it and a bit more depth than being just one straight flush piece. If this was going up on the wall, which it could do, it would only have to do one side of this. But as I'm hoping to stand it on a little base like so, we obviously want to see both sides of it. So for now, that will do us. Now we'll just general tidy up. I'll go around with a flexi cable with some of these little sanding burrs on. They come in different sizes. A nice small one like so. That'll just get us inside there nicely. And we'll try and round these off slightly, not too much, and a bit of a point on the nose, and the same at the tail. Once we've gone round with that, good old sandpaper, give it a good rub down. You'll notice there at the end there, look, we're going to feather in that tail so it matches up with the rest of the column on that side, and obviously we've got the same on that side. But apart from that, there's not much carving to do. So general tidy up, general shaping. We might even throw in a bit of mouse sander at the end, just to tidy it up, and then we'll come back when we sort a little base out to put it on. Right, I hope you can still see through the snowstorm in the shed. I've made literally a quick base for this. This was made out of the same piece of wood. There's just one screw going through the centre there. Make sure the screw's not too long or she'll come out the other side. And that's enough to hold that in place. Just what we want. The good thing with the screw is, if we're not happy with the base, we can literally just unscrew it and we'll put it against the wall somewhere. So that's enough sanding down. We've made our little base. Nice and easy, that one, nothing too complicated. And that'll serve its purpose for what we want. Now, for now, I'm just going to try and darken this down with boiled linseed oil, like I use on all my projects, just to see what it's like. If it doesn't go too dark, then we'll come back with maybe some mahogany varnish, just to darken it down a bit more. But for now, we're literally just going to throw on this boiled linseed oil. And just in case, I'll give it a nice good soaking. You'll see from there how dark that goes. It will lighten up slightly once it dries. And we'll just see what it looks like once the full project is done. So I'll continue with this, give it a good coating, and then we'll see if we actually like it or not. If not, we always have a plan B to go at. Right, that's it. This little project is over. I gave it 2 or 3 coats of a clear varnish. 151 clear. It was actually a matte finish, this one. I do not like a matte finish on a project. I prefer a gloss. So, just to play safe, we literally went over again with a clear gloss one. And that's it. This little project is done. Now, we've got it on a temporary stand. Literally just one screw. If you didn't want the stand on it, you can actually just unscrew that like so. No problem, and just hang it as it is on the wall or wherever you choose to do. Just recycled pine, remember, this is actually the base of a double wardrobe. And that's it, this little project is finished. So it measures in at 17 inches by 9 inches on recycled pine, cut out with a Pegas number 5 spiral blade, and it's a good inch thick. And that's it, this little project is finished. Just pop that on there quickly just to show you. There we go. Thank you very much for watching.